They are preparing to shut America down, as the leader of the Minnesota crop production retailer says if America's Class 1 railroads go on strike, the impact of food production, agriculture, and our supply chain as we know it would be large, potentially leading to shortages and empty shelves. Murray says if there is a strike, commodity prices would likely be affected. He went on to say that other countries that are looking to buy, whether it's soybeans or other commodities, they might get a better price from the beans coming from South America versus coming from the United States, because we have this long backlog and costs that are exacerbated by the strike. So absolutely, that could certainly affect the commodity prices. And an executive director who works very closely with the railroad companies says that basically any strike would also affect international shipments to or through Canada. Also says that moving products by truck during a strike would be very, very expensive and challenging because there's already a truck driver shortage, as if we don't have enough shortages already. Now, this would further drive up the prices of everything being transported, from food to automobile parts, you name it. You've got the Class 1 railroads and their unions. They're at odds over pay, benefits, and one-person crews. Other issues as well. And unless there's a federal intervention, either a strike or a lockdown could actually begin in mid-September. So what's that, about 30 days from now? Supply chain disruptions are a problem not only structurally, but also strategically. And decades spent building global supply chains strategically will be affected. Not to mention the performance of the supply chains. So, even after decades have been spent building these supply chains, which are tuned for just-in-time performance, they have just left companies essentially vulnerable to shortages, geopolitical uncertainty, and faster shifts in consumer demand. Now, for more than 2 years, supply chain leaders and workers have been making extraordinary efforts to adapt to the supply chain challenges that we faced. And it's increasingly clear that the supply chain disruptions, everything from government regulations to severe weather events like droughts, hurricanes, earthquakes, and tornadoes stemming from climate change and global pandemics, can be very costly. And if you believe those in Congress, the climate change, inflation, the healthcare bill nearing final approval in Congress includes $4 billion to rent, buy, or save water that lawmakers say could go a long way to help restore the beleaguered Colorado River Basin amid a historic mega drought. An average company can expect to see reduced revenues and profit margins being reduced as well as a result of supply chain disruptions. Now, according to Colorado Democratic Senator Michael Bennet, the money could be used to by the states and the local agencies to essentially temporarily buy farmers water rights. They could fund permanent conservation programs like city lawn buy-ups, or even negotiate with tribes to keep their water rights in the basin, who with 2 other Western senators negotiated to keep the $4 billion bill alive. In an interview recently, after the weekend's round of amendments and Senate passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, Michael Bennet said that the West has not been this dry in 1,200 years. The Colorado River is in a crisis, and as a result, we don't have a plan, and we need to develop one. And this is what congressmen and congresswomen are saying. And, of course, that's if you believe what the lawmakers are telling you. Now, even more alarming than this is the federal water management officials. They have warned that 7 Colorado River Basin states, they must cut 2 million to 4 million acre feet of consumption immediately, up to 25% of the river's recent flow. Now, if the states don't leave more water in the river, plummeting water levels at Lake Powell as well as Lake Mead threaten hydroelectric power and even delivery of the water itself to lower basin cities if levels of the water of the lake drop below the intakes. And you've got about 40 million people who are depending on water from the river. Now, these increased business expenses translate to higher costs for the average low income to middle income earner. High costs for food, higher costs for gas, higher costs for rent and housing, higher prices for automobiles. And, therefore, it's no surprise when global political and corporate leaders meet, the words deglobalization, the words reshoring, nearshoring, and even friendshoring resonate even more powerfully. Key data on inflation numbers are back, and we now have good news, although it's nothing compared to what the president is saying. According to President Biden, the inflation numbers for July, they came back as 0%. Do you really think that they gave him the right notes this time? I mean, do we really have 0% inflation for July? Do you guys believe that? All right, so let me ask you this. Do you feel like your expenses suddenly dipped from an additional 9.1% down to what it was a year ago? Quick yes or no in the comments down below will let me know what you guys think about that. Also, the form of stimulus check or tax credit being provided for electric vehicles seem to now be worthless, as some electric vehicles are raising their prices. Do you guys think it's still worth it to make the switch when they're jacking up the prices past the credit that you would be provided? Now, for more news on preparing your family against economic collapse, shortages, the U.S. economy, the stock market, money, and economic preparation, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also hit that notification bell icon. Now, inflation has finally gone down. Can we get an applause audio somewhere or some fireworks? Anyway, it seems as if President Joe Biden was right, as the July numbers seem to have caught up. Now, according to the Labor Department, CPI inflation is now only 8.5% compared to 9.1% from the month of June. Now, the problem is prices aren't actually going down. All right, so, I guess we can cancel the applause audio that we had planned just a second ago. But now, although prices haven't necessarily gone down, experts are saying that it's the first step toward the right direction. Now, Brian Bethune, who's an economist at Boston College, he said that it's 1 month, and 1 month does not make a trend. So, you're going to hear that 1,000 times, but I have to project that the inflation rate will moderate in August because we're seeing further declines in gasoline prices. Although, if you ask President Biden, we've already turned by 180 degrees. But look at this. July's 0% inflation and last week's booming job report underscore the kind of economy that we're building, an economy that works for everyone. This is what he's saying. Okay, so hold your horses. Don't jump straight into the comment section for this one. Critics are calling out President Biden for his apparent bad math with this one, with supporters saying that he meant to say 0% increase in inflation, which would be correct since it went down, right? Now, the problem is he clearly put 0% inflation, and that has the Twitterverse on fire, with one poll even asking users how they can describe the president's handling of our economy. Now, out of almost 5,000 people, more than 71% said that it was catastrophic, while 5.5% said that it was excellent. Republican Senator Tim Scott replied back to the president by saying that the price of food is up 10.9% from this time last year, another 40-year plus high. President Biden can try to spend it any way he wants, but the American people know that today's inflation report is bad news. But let's be fair here, guys, as we always try and clear things up. Let's see what White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre had to say about this. According to her official Twitter account, we just received news that our economy had 0% inflation in July. While the price of some things went up, the price of other things like gas, clothing, and more dropped. End quote. Okay, so they're saying the exact same thing. I also would love to clarify what she meant by the price of others that dropped, because it's certainly not food. I guess the White House wants to run a narrative that they beat inflation last month, or at least that's what it looks like. You guys are out there buying food and essentials. Do you guys think that they're just outright lying to us? Or are they just not equipped with the right financial education to grasp the rate of inflation? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. Now, while gas prices continue to go down and the average middle-class income American continue to be beaten down by the weight of inflation, no word has been heard regarding plans to give out stimulus check to help us pay for it. Now, the case may be that they want to provide it more for EVs now. The Biden administration's push for green energy remains strong, even providing a form of a tax credit to encourage Americans to make the switch. You stand to get at least $7,500 as an incentive, although Ford saw that and said, "Not happening on my watch." Just recently, they raised their prices on their Ford F-150 Lightning electric vehicle by almost $7,000. The basic model now starts at $46,974. Now, as per the car company, they've increased their prices for electric trucks. due to significant material cost increases and other factors. I wonder if they increased their prices because they knew that Americans could potentially get an extra $7,500 from the government. Why not stretch out Ford's profit margins by raising the cost of trucks and vehicles by $7,000 to pick up on the government's free cash? Don't you just love it when they give you the most vague details for price increases? And when they say other factors, is it because the sky is blue or because grass is green? Coincidentally, the price hikes took place on the exact day that President Biden signed the CHIPS and Science Act, which is designed to make it easier for automakers to get the semiconductors needed to manufacture new vehicles. But it's not just Ford. Rivian, GM, and even Tesla have all raised their prices as metal prices have also soared. But let's just say you do have the cash and you want to at least take advantage of the tax credit on another car that gives you the full $7,500. That's fine. But the auto industry is warning you of the fine print on the legislation behind it, which is the Inflation Reduction Act. But according to this bill, you can only get this credit if and only if the EV that you're purchasing contains a battery built in North America with minerals mined or recycled on the continent. John Bozzella, CEO of the Alliance of Automotive Innovation, said this. He said that the $7,500 credit might exist on paper, but no vehicles will qualify for this purchase over the next few years. So definitely read the fine print and make sure you can actually get this credit before you start trying to buy this brand new electric vehicle. Now, in stock market news, the cryptocurrency Ethereum jumped over 9.6% recently with news of inflation cooling down. Now, even though it looks great and it's as if we're bound for a strong recovery, financial advisors are wary, saying that this could be a sort of a short-lived rally as companies have posted their slowing quarterly profits. Now, as investors, it's still up to us to get updated with possible trends in the market. We have to prepare for whatever's coming, guys. Now, I'm not here to push you on how to invest your money, but I do know that caution is always a great thing to have, especially when we're dealing with our money. And as our economy seems to be on the road to recovery, or at least they say, does it mean that we're going to avoid a recession? Personally, I think we're already in a recession. What do you guys think, though? Now, in that case, will the government be off the hook on providing millions of struggling Americans with any type of financial assistance? Experts argue that the stimulus checks are by far the easiest and more efficient way to help households during a recession, but without the government's official announcement of one, there has been no immediate need for them to be sent out. But what do you guys think? Are they just avoiding the term now just so that they aren't forced to help us out financially? Hit me up in the comment section down below. Also, if you guys made it this far in the video, consider dropping a like for the video. I really appreciate that. I would love to hear what you guys are concerned about. I would love to bring you more news and information so that we can hopefully prepare and avoid potential economic collapse and catastrophe within our own families and our own local economies. Well, I hope you guys continue to prep, stock your pantries, stockpile whatever you need to make it forward. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys on the next one.